Yo, what's up YouTube? This is Reese here from CeeManga and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 727, A Hero Lying in Wait. So, yeah, I know there wasn't one from the channel last week. That's obviously because like just mad busy, but yeah, it was an alright chapter, you know. A lot of little reveals. Obviously, we found out about how the toy soldier is actually Rebecca's father, and I think that was basically just like, you know, the main big one there, the one which everyone kind of cared about, which is pretty surprising, you know. It just makes you want to see more like how they got turned into toys. You know, so I think they kind of like even showed the person who was doing it last week, you know. So yeah, I want to see that whole conversion process. What it is. If is it a devil fruit power? Is it crazy ass science? It's probably a devil fruit power, obviously. Or is it like, you know, a result of the sad? Who knows? So anyway, this chapter here, again, you know, I'm actually pretty happy. You know, Oda, it seemed like he kind of just completely wrapped up an entire flashback in what, the space of a chapter and a half kind of thing, which makes me happy and hopes he does it more because, come on, the Fishman art flashback, I know it was good, it taught us a lot of stuff, but hell, it just went on for way too long. You know, it's like when it's week after week, it's just like, can we get back to the story now? Can we get back to the story now? It's like, nope, more flashback. You know, Naruto is the worst for it. Come on, look at Naruto at the moment, it's a bit, ugh. But anyway, this is One Piece, which, like I said, this chapter, it was alright. We found out basically pretty much everything to do with the history of the Sora, you know. King Riku, he wasn't actually kind of like, you know, the crazy ass king which everyone made him out to be. In fact, he was actually a pretty decent guy, you know. Don Flamingo, as we know, is a bad guy, and this just shows how bad he actually is. So yeah, flashbacks obviously, like, you know, when those two first met, King Riku just there, like, and he sees Don Flamingo saying like, you know, I'm from the Dequinox family. So, oh, I knew you were coming anyway, you know. I thought that you were one of the Dequinox, you know, if you're like the actual kind of Dequinox. So yeah, obviously Don Flamingo's come to take over the country again, and he gave him like a little ultimatum. It's like, yep, you can have the country back if you pay me 10 billion. Is it 10 billion or 10 million? I think it was 10 billion berry, because 10 million is pretty average. So yeah, 10 billion berry. So that is a high stake for the country. So obviously the king's like, you know, I'm not going to give the country over to you. I'm going to get the money and do it. But here's the little thing which kind of bugs me. It's like, every time a bad guy gives you that ultimatum, it's like, you know, give me the money and then I will leave you in the country. It's like, you know, they're not going to do it. But I guess he kind of like didn't obviously have a choice because he knows he can't take out Don Flamingo by himself. He knows about how strong he is. So yeah, he's there like obviously asking people for the money. You know, people are just like, what's the money for? What's the money for? It's like, trust in your king. Just trust in your king. Have faith in him. And they just do it. So that just goes to show like how good of a king he actually was. You know, he just asks for something, the people do it. They have complete and total faith in him. So yeah, together they get all the money. But then next thing, the king comes riding on a horse. Everyone's like, yes, it's the king. Let's see. Yeah, we have faith in you. Let's do this thing. Comes with a flaming arrow and shoots the money. And it's like, oh god, all the money's gone. Done. We're screwed. But here's the part which is like, okay, this all makes sense now. How the king's like, you know, obviously saying he's such a bad guy. And then last week we met him and he seemed like a decent dude, you know. He still loves his country. So I was like, why the hell would someone like that do all that crazy stuff? Turns out, Puppet Master Don Flamingo is all to blame. So yeah, he used his ability to kind of like puppet string him. So he's just ruling the King Riku as like a little puppet himself. So obviously he made him light, set fire to the money. He made him attack his guardsmen. So that is where all the psychoness came from. Big surprise there. Well, it technically wasn't really a surprise, you know. I kind of thought Don Flamingo had done it anyway, but I thought he had someone who like kind of shapeshifted, you know, kind of like Mr. 2 from back in the Alabasta arc, something like that, you know, someone to pose as the king and then do all that stuff. So obviously Don Flamingo is doing this because, you know, what does everyone want? A hero. So if he kind of like manipulates the king to be a bad guy, he can come and step in and just gain everyone's respect just like that without actually having to do anything, even though he was the whole puppet master behind it all. So there you go. That is the whole story behind it. King Riku wasn't actually a bad guy. In fact, he was being controlled. Makes a lot of sense. And it's pretty obvious. It's not obvious, but, you know, you can see it coming. So yeah, that pretty much summed up that chapter, you know. King Riku came along, cut his guardsmen. That's why they kind of hated him. Just burnt the money. That's why the people hated him. And then, yeah, the rest is history. So like I said, I'm pretty happy that they did sum up all this in like one chapter. It makes me a lot more enthusiastic about what's going on, you know. That just means it's like less downtime before we finally get back to the main story at hand, which at the moment needs to wrap up with Rebecca in the Colosseum. I don't know, maybe Luffy will intervene, or maybe like the prisoners from the garbage pit will break out. Who knows what's going to happen there. But either way, that fight's going to end soon, and then, you know, the people are going to start loving Rebecca's family again. So yeah, hopefully it all happens soon, and then Oda just kicks it in gear, gets the fights down, so we can finally see some awesome Straw Hat versus Deaconot family badassness. So yeah, that there pretty much wraps this one up from me, guys. The usual. Let me know what you thought about this chapter and One Piece in general in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the channel for more content. So I'll see you next week.